California regulators say Uber and Lyft drivers are now employees. So this whole thing has just like finally just came to an awful conclusion that I think.
Well, not yet, actually. It's not. We still got some ways to go.
That's true. That's true. And then did you also know, here's another big one, Uber and GrubHub's deal is off. In fact, there's a European company that's looking to take over GrubHub. This and much more on Gridwise episode 33, podcast 33. Can you believe it?
Is it 33 or is it 34 or something like that?
It's 33.
Okay. All right.
I mean, at this point, it could be anything because we're so far out.
It's another podcast. That's what it is.
So welcome, Gridwisers. So let's talk about our first topic. This is straight from the depths of Gridwise. For those of you who are wondering, what the heck is Gridwise and where do you get this data? Well, we are a network of 110,000 rideshare delivery gig workers that use our app to track mileage and track their earnings across multiple platforms and services across 42 cities in the United States. That's monthly active users. And when you track your earnings, we collect this data, anonymize it, and we get some great insights. And this is a big one, a shock to me, and I'm sure a shock to everyone. $21.44 on average. I think last year at this time, Uber and Lyft drivers were only making like $13 on average, right?
I don't know about last year, but actually pre-COVID, I think driver earnings peaked sometime, generally driver earnings per week are pretty stagnant. Like it, fluctuates like here and there, like 5 to 7%. But kind of like pre-COVID, drivers are making around like $19.30 per hour on average. So to jump up to 44, kind of post-COVID right now, while we're still kind of, going through stuff, that is interesting to see. And it's just because like demand is certainly increasing. You're definitely seeing an increase in overall rideshare demand. And drivers are getting more trips. So you also see trips per hour increasing. Overall driver utilization is increasing pretty significantly. But you're also not seeing as many drivers getting back on the road, right? So at the height, at least 71% of drivers basically stopped driving. At least 71% of drivers basically got off the road. They were either completely stopped driving, not for delivery or rideshare, or they switched to delivery only. So but drivers are also really reluctant to get back on the road. It doesn't quite make sense for them right now. So given that there's, not as much supply and demand is actually increasing, you're going to see driver earnings actually continue to increase. You're probably seeing, I know you're seeing a lot of surges. You're seeing trips per hour increase. If you're a driver on the road, if you're a healthy driver, you can be on the road right now. You're probably making a good amount of money.
And I was saying, even with the policy changes, with Uber now limiting passengers to 3 in a vehicle, no one's going to cram 3 in a vehicle. So you think about the efficiency.
That's very true.
You think about the total efficiency of rides. Like, you're not cramming as many people in the cars. You're going to take more Uber trips. So I think that has also some sort of a positive pressure.
Yeah, that's a really interesting factor. I don't know how much that affects things, but yeah, you are not going to have like the same amount of, people trying to stuff a ton of people in a car anymore. That is actually really interesting.
Right,
yeah.
like no front seat riding for you guys.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, some of our, folks in the comments. Are you guys seeing ride sharing pick back up? I feel like you are, because that's what the data shows. But yeah, interested to see what you guys are seeing out there.
Yeah, no more. Gone are the days where I was picking up a clown car full of passengers with, some sitting on my lap even as I was driving.
Yeah, you got like 2 people in the front seat.
Yeah.
4 or 5 people in the back of your Camry.
Dude, this is just mind-blowing. Almost $22 per hour. We're gonna monitor the situation.
And it hasn't generally you see, it's up and down between 5 and 7%. It has just gone up since mid-March. It's literally just gone up. So It's interesting to see that.
I'm also curious, once the bevy of unemployment checks run out and restrictions have definitely started to ease, will more drivers come onto the road? And how is that going to affect earnings? Are earnings going to continue to explode upwards, or will they plateau, or will they just crash back down?
Well, here's what's interesting as well. One of the reasons that drivers aren't, on the road as much is because they have so many other options now. And drivers have been kind of forced to say, okay, there's DoorDash and there's Instacart and there's Shipt and there's Postmates and there's Amazon Flex and there's all these different things. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, I could sit back and do Uber. Well, now you're realizing, okay, DoorDash isn't too bad. If I can catch that dinner time DoorDash, I'm making more than I was when I'm doing Uber, right? So if you can kind of figure out, hey, what that driving strategy is for you from a cross-platform standpoint, it doesn't make sense for you to be so beholden to just Uber or just Lyft. So that's also going to be a challenge. So I think, to your point, a lot of drivers will definitely come back on the road as, unemployment benefits run out. A lot of drivers will come back on the road as stay-at-home orders are lifted and things just feel safer. But a lot of drivers that are on the road are not going to just be doing Uber or just Lyft. They're going to be doing everything.
Curious to think. I want to ask Gridwisers that are out there that have pivoted to delivery. I'm curious. Is it true? Is it like ripping off a Band-Aid? What prevented you from doing delivery before, and now that you have dove into delivery, ripping off that bandage analogy? What's it like? Is it different than what you thought? Is it something that you would continue to do post-COVID? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know.
I
think drivers will continue to do it. Definitely, I think drivers are going to continue to do Instacart and Shipt. Like grocery side of things is such a smart thing to do. Such a smart thing to do because you don't put like the amount of miles on your car. You are going to definitely make a good amount. It's going to be comparable, if not more, than what Uber drivers make, no matter when it is. And it just makes a ton of sense.
And you have your own control over how hard you slam your own doors.
Yeah. That's very true. Across all delivery, you can choose to slam your door harder, give a little...
Exactly.
That little peck there. So
exactly.
I think they'll stick around. But it's like the question of, okay, when should I start driving again? So if I'm a driver, and I've been staying home, I want to stay safe. When is a point where I should feel comfortable getting back on the road?
I think the answer to that is fairly simple in my mind, and that's to follow CDC regulations and policies and statements. Do what's best for you in the interest of your own health and not for your monetary gain, guys. That's the advice that I would give.
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to have monetary considerations, Because, I mean, I think
true. The businessman.
I'm just saying, like, as a human, if I end up needing money, I might have to, I have to do what I gotta do, and that
gotta weigh the virus.
Yeah,
cold hard cash.
Yeah, you gotta figure it out. I mean, that's where you say, okay, maybe doing delivery is a better idea than just going straight into rideshare. I think a lot of drivers will take that route. But yeah, you have to. It's hard, and I don't have a good answer for this. I think you have to consider your health. You have to consider your financial situation. You have to consider the state of the country, the state of the world, and kind of make a decision that's right for you. I don't think that there's no easy answer to me until like maybe next year this time there might be an easy answer, but right now I don't think so. What didn't we see Lyft telling kind of trying to push drivers to get out on the road? Was that real?
I think so. There were in-app notifications as well as text messages direct to drivers, SMS messages telling drivers that earnings are way up right now and you should get on that gravy train or miss out.
Which they are, but are we 100% sure that was real?
Not 100% sure.
Okay. if that was real, I don't want us to like, I don't want Lyft to go sue us or anything like that.
That
But
never happened.
if that is true, that is Lyft kind of enjoys, for whatever reason, this image of being better than Uber,
Well said.
Like, for whatever reason, Lyft is like the nice company, They're kind of like, if you're, like if your dad is like the hard ass and he never says yes, Lyft is like the nice mom, and that everyone kind of likes. But I don't know where that comes from, because Lyft does the exact same things as Uber does, basically.
They follow in Uber's footsteps, essentially.
Yeah, just like literally step by step, Lyft does everything.
It's genius, like, if you think about it. Like, why waste salary, time, and effort into figuring things out if you could just wait 2 weeks and see what Uber does? And
then just copy that.
All right, I guess we'll do what they're doing.
Yeah. they're just like they're like a research and development team is just looking at Uber's website and just saying,
let's see if they crash and burn or they go up. So we'll do whatever they do.
Yeah, enough with roasting Lyft. Shit, how did we start talking about this? What were we talking about here?
We're talking about
Lyft. Right. Okay. So they sent out that text, and that's like incredibly just tone deaf and, dare I say, kind of problematic to be trying to dangle the dollars out in front of drivers to get them to drive in what could be an unsafe condition for them. For some people it's not, but for some people it could be very unsafe. So
it can be.
I hope that wasn't real. Because every driver, you got to kind of think for yourself and make a decision about when it's going to be a good time for you to get back on the road.
Well said, Brandon.
But whether you're on the road or not, just go ahead and click on Gridwise, please, and just
downloading. Click the buttons. Click all the buttons.
Click all the buttons.
because especially if you're in California.
If you're in Cali.
Because you are now an employee of Uber.
You are technically an Uber employee. Actually, on July 1st, they're like supposed to. They're not going to, but they have to qualify and start to pay and start to treat drivers as employees, which they're not.
I am prophesizing. I am seeing a 90% reduction in the workforce. If this goes into effect, Uber and Lyft will literally deactivate 90% of driver accounts. You're under a 4.9 stars? Oh, we're sorry, you can't drive for the platform.
Ooh.
You haven't done more than you haven't done such and such qualifications. You only drive at midnight. Sorry, we're gonna deactivate you. We don't need your account anymore.
Yeah. It's gonna be tricky. So basically, the kind of breaking news here is that the California's regulatory body that basically decides this matter in terms of employment, who's an employee and who is not, they have officially stated that Uber drivers and Lyft drivers, basically any rideshare driver. I'm not 100% sure about if delivery is lumped in there. I don't know why it would not be, but I don't think that was specifically stated. But they are definitely considered employees by the state of California. Not to say the fight is over. It is far from over. They still have their November 5th ballot. Uber has tons of legal bullets left to fire here. So we will see what happens. But technically speaking, Uber drivers in California are employees and Lyft drivers.
Honestly, it's 2020. I wouldn't even be surprised if that came to fruition.
It could. We actually just released a pros cons article that I think we say pretty balanced in. Just kind of trying to give all the facts there. And yeah, it's a debate. I agree with you, Jay, and Uber has actually, they've released a report saying how they definitely are going to have to. I don't know if it was 90%. I think they said something like 75% of drivers they'd have to deactivate. And prices would hike, as much as like 100% in some markets. We talked about this in a previous podcast. So that could happen if all this goes through.
There could be the entire possibility. It's entirely possible that Uber pulls out of California completely. Say we got to shut down operations. It's not profitable for us.
It's possible. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it is possible.
But it's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible.
Love that Joe Rogan quote there. I also love the fact that Uber's not buying GrubHub anymore. They lost out, I guess. Things fell apart, and now an European company, I forget the name, it escapes me, Just Takeaway.
Takeaway, I think.
Yeah.
It's just takeaway.com.
It's the weird, it's like GoDaddy.com. It's like a relic of the past. It seems like a dinosaur from like AOL Online, like era internet. Like you would go to Netscape Navigator and type just takeaway.com.
Netscape Navigator.
Yeah, that's what I think about when like, was I alive back then?
I think about this every once in a while when like in the AOL and Netscape days, like what were we paying for? Like, did you have to pay for the actual browser, or like what were you paying for? You know what I mean?
I just remember it was expensive. It was like $99 or something.
Was it? I thought AOL was like, I mean, they had so many of those CDs. You remember those AOL CDs?
Oh yeah, I do.
They had like literally millions of those CDs somewhere.
That was definitely a weird time to be alive. And
like that dial-up connection noise. Every time someone calls, you get kicked off the internet.
Oh, dude, that was the worst. Taking overnight to download one MP3.
Oh, destroying your computer from trying to download one MP3.
Yeah, because it's a virus instead.
Because just nothing but. And LimeWire were nothing but viruses.
Yeah, dude. What a Wild West.
that really was.
You think about how regulated and safe the web is now. Like, it was just so.
It was such
so
a
bad.
shit show. It
really
was a shit show. How many computers died for us to get here to be able to do this podcast where we sit here and
talk about
shit.
Uber and GrubHub and their deals are off. So what does that mean? What's the reason? I read one reason was that antitrust was an issue. They're afraid that if they get bought, if they go through with the merger, then the courts would just shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a big thing. You had a lot of officials basically come out before, like, as just like a little bit of snippet of rumors came out. You had people rush to say, no, get the fuck out of here. Absolutely not. Senator Klobuchar, she was one of the first. So yeah, you had a lot of folks that did not want it, and kind of some of the rumors right now are definitely that the regulatory items are why things got, put on the kibosh. GrubHub's CEO actually came out and said, no, that's not the reason. We just felt like just takeaway.com was a better strategic partner. Essentially, I don't really understand. I never even heard of justtakeaway.com before the other day.
I was like, what is this website that's like, it looks like a scam site. Like,
I guess it's like a big European player.
It is. Yeah. One of the biggest. So
I don't know, but that's what happened. So it apparently is off right now. I don't know. You think Uber's done trying to acquire food delivery companies?
I don't know. I feel like if they wanted to acquire GrubHub, and it's taken them, they put this much effort into it. I really don't know. Maybe it's a sunk cost fallacy here, where they'll continue. But I doubt that executive leadership would. They'd probably recognize that real quick and be like, you know what, opportunity cost is too much. Yeah.
Well. If we look at the market, okay, so let's say GrubHub's off the board. Okay, who do they got left? They have DoorDash and they have Postmates. Caviar, is Caviar owned by someone?
Not sure.
I think they are, but let's say for the sake of argument that they're still on the table. Who else? Let's say GoPuff. We could just go ahead and put them out there, though they're pretty small.
There's a bunch of minor ones, like regional.
Yeah, there's the regional ones. I can't see them doing a regional. I don't think that has like the impact that they would want, unless they bought like 5 of them real quick. I can't see them. I can't really see them doing DoorDash because DoorDash is just way too big. They would that if like they got shit from regulatory agencies about GrubHub, they're gonna get just completely shut down by buying DoorDash. They would own the entire market. Like, so I don't think that's gonna happen. Postmates maybe. Postmates would be the thing, but would be the one, I think.
What an interesting time to be alive. It really is. That's our topics for today.
Wild times. That's it. We're done. Short pod. There's not much to talk about.
I mean, it's 30 minute pod.
20 minutes.
It's just time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're having fun. Good pod though. I think there's some interesting shit going on. Even though there's not like a ton of stuff going on.
All right, Gridwisers. Once again, this is Jay.
I'm Brandon.
We'll see you on the next podcast.